Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Sylvester Inspired Beliefcast once again. I'm so excited to have you guys listening in today, and I want to thank you all for believing in me. It means the world to me as well. And I just want you to know that I know that we're going some really difficult times in the world right now. A lot of people are kind of nervous and scared, and what's this all going to lead to? And I've had many of you reach out to me and just ask for advice. And over the weekend, I felt prompted to ask a really good friend of mine to come back on to this belief cast because I think he has a very powerful voice. He lives a principle-centered life, and I just knew that he would have some advice for all of us that would truly help us through this difficult time. And his name is Boyd Matheson. So welcome back.
Great to be back with you, Todd.
Yeah, I had Boyd on. I don't know, it's been a few months now, and the response to your belief cast has been overwhelming. People reaching out saying, "Man, we love what he said. It inspired me to be better." And again, I couldn't think of anyone better at this particular time where we're at in the world to have you come on and share some insight with all of us.
Well, it's great to be with you, and it is an interesting time. I don't think any of us ever could have predicted or
Right.
believed that we would be in this kind of scenario. But I think the important thing is to recognize that one, we're not the first ones to go through this kind of thing. So
Right.
there's in times like this, it's good to remember there's always been times like this. And one of the things that I think is most important for us, I think one thing that a lot of people are struggling with is we keep hearing this term, well, it's just the new normal. It's just the new
Right.
normal.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really bad phrase. It's a really bad phrase.
Right.
It's not the new normal. It's just the new now. Because the hardest thing for us to do is to wrap our heads around. When you say new normal, that means it's going to stay the way it is forever.
Forever, right.
And that's wrong.
Yeah.
And that is wrong. And it's really hard for our minds to be able to wrap around, well, if this is the new normal, this is my existence moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's really tough. And it creates a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of undue stress.
Right.
And it really hurts us in terms of being present to the moment.
Right.
You and I have talked before about one of the real challenges is to be present, because sometimes we look back at the past and we say, oh, that was awful, that was terrible, that was painful.
Right.
And sometimes we project forward and say, oh my goodness, if this is the new normal, I can't sustain that.
Right.
And that's often when we give up. And so again, it's like pain. You know, whether your pain is physical pain or emotional pain, you're always dealing with three things. You have the memory of past pain.
Yeah.
You have whatever you're going through at the moment, the reality pain.
Right.
And then you also have this projection forward of, if I've got cluster migraines,
Right.
if I start feeling pain and it starts going up on the pain scale,
Yeah.
and so they think, oh man, I remember how bad this was last time. And so that's creating additional stress and uncertainty for me. And then if I start projecting forward and say, oh my gosh, I'm a 7 on the, a 7 out of 10 on the pain scale.
Right.
If it goes up to 8, I'm going to miss my daughter's soccer game and my son's
Right.
piano recital, and I'm going to miss
Yeah.
work. And so now I'm creating stress in the future that I can't control.
Right.
The important thing is to learn to the new now, because in the
Yeah.
new now, you have the power of and.
Mm.
A-N-D. It's a little word, but
Uh-huh.
it's really important, because I can experience pain and I can get my work done today. I can have this pain going on, or I can have this uncertainty in my life right now,
Yeah.
and I can keep working on my goals and keep working on my objectives and keep moving forward. The power of and is really important in this kind of crisis because there are so many things that we can't control.
Right.
We got to be present to the moment, the old be here now. And then use the power of and. That,
Yeah.
I can be a little worried about
Sure.
what's going to happen next week, or how long this stay safe, stay home thing is going to go on, or that I
Right.
can't get to work today. And I'm going to keep working on myself. I'm going to keep working on my goals. I'm going to keep reaching out to the people that I love. I'm going to reach out to the people I'm concerned about. There's a lot of ands out there that'll really drive us forward.
Wow, I love that. So well said, Boyd. I want to give a little background on you, just for those who may not know you, which is probably not very many. But Boyd is the opinion editor and head of strategic reach for the Deseret News. He has served as the chief of staff for U.S. Senator Mike Lee. He also was a president of the public policy think tank Sutherland Institute, and you've spent years as an international business strategist. Boyd is a regular media contributor. He's a thought leader, and you're recognized as a voice of reason and principle. And like you just said it perfectly. I call it future tripping. You're going to trip over the future. You're like, oh my gosh, this is such a scary thing. And one of my favorite lines in the book, The Power of Now, he talks about enlightenment. And enlightenment is the end of suffering. And in the present moment is the only time we can be enlightened.
Yeah.
Because this is all we got is this
right.
moment. And so I think even though we might be struggling in the moment, but I love what you said. And what are we going to do about it?
Yeah, that's right.
Am I going to play victim to it and curl up in a ball?
Yeah.
And I'm going to stand up, I'm going to get stuff done, and I'm going to do this and that. So
yeah.
I love what you said.
Yeah, I had a chance to do a podcast with BYU basketball coach Mark Pope.
Oh, right on.
He gets this stuff in an amazing way.
Yeah.
And so, but I wasn't so much interested in the basketball portion of the program. As fascinating as that was,
sure,
he did an extraordinary job building a program. But we kind of went through the ups and downs of a turbulent season, and of course they had big wins, and then they were right on the cusp of first chance to go to March Madness, right. NCAA, and then everything gets canceled. And I said, so tell me what happened there, but more importantly, what was the lesson you were teaching your players as suddenly this dream that they had fought and worked so hard for was just gone, especially the seniors who had no chance to come back and play again.
It's over. Yeah.
And he said the lesson was the same lesson that we taught every single day in practice. And I loved how he said this. He said, in basketball, the game only asks you one question. There's only one question that the game of basketball asks, and that is, how are you going to respond? So if you've missed 5 shots in a row, the only thing basketball is going to ask, how are you going to respond to the 6th shot?
Right.
If the referee makes 2 bad calls on you in a row, how are you going to respond? What are you going to do next? If you have a great win, how do you respond? Do you have a bad loss? How do you respond? And then he took that one step further and says, so here we are, coronavirus, all of these challenges,
right.
uncertainty, dreams, cut, changed, altered. The only thing life's going to ask, the only question life's going to ask is, how are you going to respond?
Wow. I love
How are you going to respond to the right now?
Yeah.
And one of the interesting things that I found, we have to be very, very careful when we go through this kind of change. This is big time change.
Sure.
And big time uncertainty. And to me, that's the test. It's always it's easy when things are going good.
Right.
General Patton used to always say, success is not how high you soar, it's how high you bounce when you hit bottom. And so I've been saying that for the country, this is a test of our bounceability.
Wow.
And individually, it's the same. Our success will not be determined by how high we soar when things are going well.
Yeah.
It's how high we bounce when we hit bottom. And there's sort of this natural tug and pull that when things are uncertain or difficult, that we hunker down.
Right.
And that's wrong. So look at it from a business standpoint. Most of the great innovations, most of the great breakthroughs, break-withs, great companies that have been started in this country were all started in incredibly bad economic times. Times when it would have been much easier to say, well, we're just going to hunker down and ride it out.
Right.
I used to deal with a lot of salespeople, and people would say, oh, fourth quarter, so hard. Everybody's thinking about the holidays. And I said, but you know what? Somebody's going to have a record-setting year in this quarter. Someone's going to break a record this quarter.
Yeah.
Why not you?
Why not you?
And so this idea that now is the time for us to hunker down is really wrong.
Wow.
It's time to push. It's time to stretch. So if you find yourself with a little more time, I mean, how often do we use this as, if only I had more time, I'd exercise. If only I had more time, I'd spend more time with my spouse or my significant other.
Yeah.
And so we have more time. And so what are we going to do with it?
Right.
And so being able to say, you know what, I'm going to take this time and I'm going to read a little more. I'm going to study a little more. I'm going to improve a little more. I'm going to reach out a little more. I'm going to serve a little more. All of those things are very different because the way I look at how things are going to roll in the coming months is it's sort of like a relay race. And the people who are hunkering down saying, well, once the stay-at-home order is done, then I'm going to really get back at it. Or, when I get back to work later on, I'm going to try to pick up my skills, or, increase my effort, or I'm going to spend more time with my kids, or I'm going to be more concerned about this or that. It's a relay race.
Yeah.
And if you're standing still, when that person comes running around the corner with the baton, if you're hunkered down, you're just waiting, you're going to get run over.
Right.
But the people who are sprinting and running, then when that opportunity comes, they're going to grab that baton and you go. That's how you win. And so I love the old saying that it's far better to lean into the stiff wind than it is to hunker down and do nothing.
Wow.
And so this is not the time to hunker down. This is the time to take advantage of opportunities to think deeply, to read more, to engage in meaningful dialogue and conversation, even if it's on a podcast. Because everybody who's listening right now is part of this conversation.
Sure.
And they got a dialogue going on in your head, and it's back and forth. And so take notes, write things down, and say, okay, what am I going to do about that so that I can lean into the stiff wind of the current challenge to make sure I'm running full speed when the next opportunity comes through.
That is so well said. And I think, a lot of the mentality, I think naturally you're like, okay, let's just hunker down and just ride this storm out. But I love what you're saying. It's almost kind of like a forward-thinking mindset. And as you were saying this, it reminded me of there's an amazing book out there called Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz.
Yeah.
And in there, he quotes Pascal, and it's talking about, I'll be happy when, or I'll be happy if. And if we're constantly thinking, well, I'll be happy when this is over, or I'll be happy, or I'll be better and more improved, and I'll work on this when this is all done. Then it gets done, and then now
Nothing
what?
changes.
Nothing changes. And it's that mindset. If we get stuck in that, then we stay basically stuck.
Yeah.
And we wonder why we're not feeling good and this and that. And what a great opportunity for all of us, I guess, to kind of dig deep and start doing something
and
good.
almost flip that over. Rather, I'll be happy when, or I'll be happy if. It's almost I'm going to experience this and I'm going to be happy now.
Wow.
That's it. It's got to be in the present.
Yes, and I'm going to be happy despite what we're kind of going through.
Yeah.
Well, so let's talk about, you're a public figure. You hear a lot of, obviously, opinions from people. You've been talking to a lot of people. You do this every single day. What's your overall take of how people are handling this overall?
Yeah, I think it's across the board. I do think there is sort of it's easier to have a bunker mentality and just hunker down, write it out, get your toilet paper and your water.
Yeah, who would think? Hoard some toilet paper. Well, isn't that fascinating?
And so to me that's kind of the cop out mindset. One of the things that Mr. Rogers always said in time of crisis, or when you're scared, look for the helpers, because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And so we should be looking for the helpers. We should also be looking for the leaders. This is one of the rare opportunities to really observe leadership in action. Mm-hmm. And so what does that look like? And who's really leading and who's taking out? And I guarantee you, it's not the people standing at podiums giving press conferences. That's rarely where you see it.
Yeah.
And so look for the helpers, look for the leaders, and then be the helper and be the leader.
Wow.
Because there's never been a more important time for us to lead ourselves first, to make sure we got our own act together, that we're working on that. Yeah. And then the opportunities to reach out have never been more significant. Right. I always say at the end of my radio program, today, see something that inspires, say something that uplifts, and do something that makes a difference. If you can do those three things today, that's a great day. That's a really great day.
That is a really great day.
And so just learning to say, okay, even though things are different, it's a new now.
Right.
But I can see something that inspires today, and whether that's the beauties of the mountains, whether it's the beauty of my grandchildren, whether it's the beauty of someone's words or talent or music, there's beauty everywhere. So see something that inspires. If we lose our ability to feel awe and inspiration, we're in danger of losing a lot more.
Right.
So see something that inspires, say something that uplifts, and whether that's reaching out. Sometimes we internalize and say, well, I'm a little lonely today, or I'm
Yeah.
having a little challenge today.
Right.
But we need to make sure we're reaching out, and whether that's a text or a phone call.
Yes.
I would encourage everyone to pull out a good old pen and a
Yes.
card and write somebody a note.
Yeah.
And send, imagine what that could do for somebody's day to day to get a note.
Man.
People hold on to
Love
those
that.
things,
Yeah.
and they keep those. And when they're having a bad day, not just today, but a year from now, they'll pull it out. Think of all the things that you save in your boxes and drawers.
For
How
sure.
many of those are a handwritten note from a parent
Absolutely.
or a boss?
Yeah.
So say something that inspires, and then obviously do something that makes a difference. We get the chance to do
Yeah.
every day,
Yeah.
and never assume that just because someone seems to be okay, that they're okay.
Right.
Because there's a
Exactly.
good chance that they could. I mean, I am amazed at some of the people who will say, "I really needed that today," or "Thanks for doing that today," and you kind of look at them and think, "You,
Yeah.
you
What?
got your act together."
Yeah, you're good.
And so everybody needs that
For sure.
And again, if you can see something that inspires, say something that uplifts, and do something that makes a difference, you're going to have a lot of great todays now.
Wow. Love that. It's amazing the power of a letter. I've challenged a lot of my clients, and I've done this myself, where I'll actually write my wife a letter and mail it to our house.
Yeah.
Or even one of my kids. It's like, why did I get a letter from Dad to our house?
It's awesome.
But it's an awesome feeling. It's like, it's something that's like getting a present.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a letter.
Yeah.
It's in the mail. So I love that you point that out, because I think that almost covers all those bases. If you just would every day write someone a quick little note, tell them how much you appreciate them, tell them thanks, tell them, hey, I'm here for you, that kind of thing, and what an influence that is.
Yeah, and it's a great way to start your day. It's
Amen.
so easy to start your day. You get into your office, and a lot of people, our office is in our basement, now. Or,
Exactly.
but you do that first, and it gets you thinking outside of yourself. It gets you thinking about qualities that you appreciate in others.
Right.
And it gives you a chance to serve and make a difference. So that's often how I start my day at the office.
Wow.
Is after some good thoughtfulness and some prayer and meditation, and they say, okay, who should I write a letter to
Wow.
today? It's a great way to start the
Man,
day.
seriously, I just love your energy, man. And listeners, this is why I have Boyd on. This is it. This is why. And I hope you're feeling this, because, Boyd and I are probably some of the very few people who are up at 4 a.m., right? You and I can actually call at 4. Hey, what you been doing?
Yeah. Hey, you're early.
Yeah, what's going on? So I really do love how you live your life, Boyd. And that's, again, why I want you on here, because you're a great example. Not only are you telling these things, I know you do these things. Because it's one thing, like you said, we can stand at the pulpit and go, here, hey, everyone, we should be doing this and that. But I love, because I know you do these things. It's kind of, you live your life that way. So, but I also want to ask you another question too, because everyone, it's easy to focus on all the negatives that are going on because of this pandemic. Yeah. Your perspective, and maybe as a world as a whole, how has this been a blessing even? That we're going through all of this, and what's some of your insights on that?
Yeah, I think it's like most things. In fact, I think we talked about last time we were together. It's one thing to be broken; it's another to be broken open, and really finding what we have inside is one of the great blessings. And so often in challenges and difficulties, at the beginning, we don't know if it's good or bad. We just know it's painful.
Yeah.
We know it's hard. We know some days it's hard to be awake. Some days it's a struggle to get out of bed. Some days, if you're dealing with depression or anxiety or an addiction, the road looks really long and really hard and really steep some days.
Yeah.
And it's okay. That's okay, because you don't have to do that whole thing today. You just got to take one step forward today,
right?
And recognize the perspective in it, because so often those things that we think are bad, or hard, or awful, or terrible, are really just opportunities. Really interesting. There was a junior high here in Utah. It was new building, and in the fall, the building wasn't ready.
Okay.
So for the first couple of months of their fall, they all had to do online school. And the teachers had to learn to teach at distance during this period until the building was finished.
Right.
And of course, everyone was, oh, this is so awful. This is so terrible. It's the start of the school year and we're having to, do distance learning. This
Right.
is awful. And so just a few weeks ago, when everyone suddenly had to be home and schools were closed, that junior high, they didn't miss a second.
Right.
Because they'd already done it. And so what they thought was horrible in the fall turned out to be an incredible blessing for them.
Wow.
In February and March.
Yeah.
Because they were ready.
Yeah.
They were prepared for it. And there's things like that all around the world in terms of, it's hard, it's difficult. There's a lot of challenges to be sure. And this is not about looking at the world through rose-colored glasses or
Sure.
glasses that are
Right.
half full or half empty.
Yeah.
It's a perspective about perspective. And it's so easy because we often get fed it on our social media feed or in the media that, we buy into this group griping and pity party and woe is
Right.
me and this is
Yeah.
so bad and my life's so awful. I'll say I got a submission at the paper a few days ago from a teenage girl, high school senior, and she had been, online with a lot of her friends who were all just having some group griping and a pity party.
Sure.
They're losing their senior year. They lost their last big dance. They didn't get to have, this outing or the big trips and choir tours and all of those things. And she wrote this poem that we actually published on DeseretNews.com.
Okay.
And it was just powerful of all the things that they had learned and all the things they had done together and things that would, never go away.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's a great perspective. And so you just have to be careful. You just have to be careful that we rush to judgment of whether something is good or bad. It just is.
Right.
We'll turn it into a good or a bad based on how we embrace it. And most importantly, what we learn from it.
Very well said. Yeah. Again, I think perspective is the key.
Yeah.
What you said there. And I'd really love to get a copy of that poem. I'd love to share that even on my feed as well, which we'll do that. I'll look at that. I know, one of the things you have a podcast called Therefore What? And I know you've had, over the last couple of weeks, even a lot of people on who are talking about these type of things. And what insight are you hearing from people that you've had on who are going through something difficult, or what's their view on this?
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things is what you do. Both of us know our good friend Joseph Grenny.
Yes.
Great work at the Other Side Academy. Just a great social scientist, and
Right.
his book Influencer should be must read for everybody on the planet.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But he posted something on his Facebook page the other day about Sir Isaac Newton. And so this would have been early 1600s.
Right.
And so he's at school, he's going to college, and a bubonic plague comes through.
Yeah.
And so what did he have to do? Stay at home. He had to go back. He had to leave because they shut down the college.
Right.
And for a year and a half, he had to go back to his family farm, isolation, self-quarantine.
Self-quarantine, yeah.
And so what did he do during that period? Theories of physics and gravity and color. And so he took that season that could have been a season of idleness, could have been a season of uncertainty, and instead he transformed it into one of the most important seasons of his life. Interestingly, when they finally opened the school back up, again, new now,
Right.
changed, right?
Yeah.
He went back and he actually became the headmaster because his teacher saw all that he had done and all that he brought back, and he stepped down and said, "You need to lead this."
Wow.
And so it's really what we do.
Right.
And so I see people that are taking advantage of that. I keep telling small business owners and medium-sized business owners and large business owners, look, this isn't the time to hunker down and do nothing and just hold on, try to ride it out. This is the time to explore. See, what can we do different? What can we do better? Wow, I've always wanted to fiddle with this part of the business. Well, guess what? Good time to start fiddling.
Yes, this is your chance.
Time to tinker is now. And so that seems to be one of the common things that I'm seeing in people is some people are hunkering down for sure. But a lot of people are saying, there's got to be an opportunity in here somewhere.
Right.
And so how do we find that? How do we maximize it? And how do we move forward?
Wow, beautifully said. Well, people who are listening to you right now might be going, how in the heck is Boyd like this? Like, give him a little background. Like, I mean, you've obviously cultivated this attitude and this perspective and these principles you live by. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. I know that, right? But from what I know of you, you're a hard worker. Again, you get up early. You start the day off right. You've been doing that for a long, long, long time. But where did this come from? Like, I mean, again, let's talk maybe a little bit about your upbringing and maybe stuff you learned from your family through all, growing up.
Yeah, to me, it's a kind of a lifelong pursuit. And everything I do, including what we're having right now,
right.
My immediate audience is always me. So as we're talking about these principles, I don't want anyone for a minute to think I got this thing figured out.
Right.
But I do know, and I do understand the power of principles.
Yes, you do.
And principles applied is where you learn and grow. And so when I'm reading, when I'm on the radio, when I'm writing my column, my immediate audience is myself. And so I'm challenging that thinking. I'm looking at the principle. And that's one of the things I think we have to get back to. And this is one of the things I've really been thinking about is it's so easy that we skim across the surface.
Right.
And a lot of our problems are because we skim across the surface. And so I remember one time I had a lady call me when we were at the Sutherland Institute, and she screamed at me for 10 minutes straight. It's like she had circular breathing going on. She just didn't stop. And she was screaming about something because the only thing she had done was read the headline of an article online.
Gotcha.
And it just threw her into a tizzy. And, I don't know if I ever convinced her that, what she was reading was actually satire. And it said it in, 6-inch letters at the top. But she had just skimmed across the surface. And so when we're in this kind of environment, if we're just skimming the headlines, that's not helpful.
Right.
It's also not helpful to skim through just forever on your social media channels.
Right.
Because if you're just skimming across the surface there, everybody's life looks perfect,
right,
and yours looks really crummy,
right,
and that's wrong.
Yeah,
and this is really important when we use that surface and we view our lives through comparison. It's always fatal vision.
Wow.
So one, it's not real what you're just skimming through there,
right?
But two, it creates this false sense of where you are and who you are, and so I think there are a lot of people who have allowed this extra time they have to be filled up by forever scrolling through their social media or binge watching some thing. Yeah. And that's all surface stuff. So here's the challenge for everyone today. There's a big difference between skimming across the surface and getting to the essence. One of the things that I really admire in great radio people, and again, I'm a novice radio guy. Jeff Kaplan from KSL he's a master. He does a thing called My Minute of News. And I've been going through this with my son. We've been kind of his stay home at school.
Right.
So I've been having him go through Jeff Kaplan's My Minute of News and analyze it. Kind of a little master class.
Sure.
And you think 1 minute, man, all I can do in 1 minute is skim across the surface.
Yeah.
You can't cover anything in a minute. And I said, no, listen to Jeff Kaplan, because you will learn what it means to get to the essence of an issue in 60 seconds or less.
Wow. And
often in our lives, we're skimming across the surface, but we're missing the essence. And so one of the things that is really important to me, and I'm not sure where I got this, but trying to get to the essence of an issue is a challenge. It requires you to stop, engage at a different level, and then start moving forward. And so I think that's a skill set we've sort of lost in society, is getting to the essence of things, because it takes more effort to get to the essence than it does to skim across the surface and to make kind of the sweeping generalities. And that's important from a goal setting standpoint too.
Absolutely.
When we talk about things in generalities, we very rarely succeed. But when we get to the specific, the essence, we very rarely fail.
Very rarely fail. And I like what you said, but that's where the effort has to come in.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, unfortunately, don't want to put in that effort.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing about effort, if you'll just do it and fight through that, you can really have whatever you want.
Yeah.
Honestly, you want to be happy now, you put in the effort.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be prepared in your home with food and water and money and finances, all that stuff. But what about you personally? Where are you? How are you preparing yourself? Are you strong spiritually? Are you strong mentally? Are you strong physically?
Yeah.
Are you strong emotionally? That's one of the things I've been kind of sharing with my clients over the last several weeks, month, is those 4 areas: spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Yeah. Let's improve on all 4 of those areas while we're in our homes.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's again, like what you were saying, let's do.
Yeah.
Let's make this an amazing time for us to be better.
Yeah, and it's a great time to just resolve.
Yeah.
And when I say resolve, again, let's go back to kind of where we started in terms of be here now, be present to the moment, that new now, not new normal. Because one of the things that undermines our resolve is uncertainty and isolation.
So true.
We're all kind of in the middle of uncertainty and forced isolation. And so we need to break those barriers down. So in terms of that, uncertainty, how do you create certainty? And to me, it's about confidence.
Yeah.
And to me, the rule about confidence is confidence is never arrogance.
Right.
Real confidence happens when you have respect for the challenge. Mm-hmm. You're ready for the task. You have that resolve that you're going to push through no matter what.
Yeah.
And so that's it. So whether that is facing the uncertainty of a pandemic, it's like, okay, so let's have respect for the challenge. We know this is serious. We know this is important.
For sure.
Do we have a plan? What are we going to do? What's my personal game plan? What's my family plan? What's my community plan? Because all of these things are going to be done at the local level. This is not coming out of Washington, D.C.
Right, exactly.
This is a in-home challenge for us. But you can have confidence. And when you have that kind of confidence, that's when life gets really exciting.
Right.
Yeah, that's when all kinds of new opportunities begin to emerge. Yeah. The other thing is to make sure that resolve, like if I had to say, I'm exercising every day for the rest of my life, if that's my new normal, I'll make it today, maybe.
Right. That'll be
and then I'm out, Then
I'm out. Right.
So don't project that far forward. All you got to do is my new now, I am stepping on the treadmill.
Yes.
And just go.
Just go.
And that's it. Or if I'm going to change this, relationship, or I'm going to work on this in my professional life. All of those things just require us to take an action in the new now.
Yeah, I love that. Will Smith talks about how don't worry about building the wall. Lay one brick as perfectly as you can lay that brick today.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow lay the brick again. And soon you'll have a wall.
Yeah.
So don't worry about the wall down the road.
That's right.
Because that can be overwhelming. I got to work out the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Can't do that.
I'm done.
I'm out.
But I can do it today.
Yeah.
I can get, I can work on myself today. I'm not going to worry about what I'm going to do tomorrow, but here's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Such a great message.
Oh, it's so important. I had a great conversation with Scott Miller, who's Executive Vice President of Thought Leadership at Franklin Covey.
Yes.
And we were talking about, that circle of influence, circle of concern, and things that we worry about.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get into some real practical things. And so I've always said that there's really only 2 things in life that you can worry about. There's only 2. So we should all feel a lot better because there's only 2 things you can worry about.
Right.
So the first thing you can worry about is the things that you cannot control.
Yeah.
And I think we all agree that that's crazy. I always use the example, if I'm late for a meeting and I'm trying to rush and I hit all the red lights, no matter how tightly I grip the steering wheel, no matter how many times I pound on the dashboard,
so true, yeah.
The light doesn't care. It just doesn't care. And it's going to turn green when it turns green.
That is so true.
And so it's crazy to worry about something you cannot control.
Yeah.
So that takes off half of your worries right there.
Right. Yeah.
So that leaves us, the only other thing we can worry about is the stuff we can control.
Yeah.
And it's even more crazy. It's more crazy to worry about the stuff that we can control. Because if I can control it or I can influence it, all I got to do is make a plan, set a goal, take an action. Yeah, and that's the game changer. So everybody should just be exhaling right now, listening to this podcast. We've eliminated everything you can worry about. Things you can't control, don't worry about those. You can't control them, it's gone. The only other thing you can worry about is the things you can control, and if you can control it or influence it, just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Wow. There you, man. I feel much better just hearing that. Thanks, Boyd. I really appreciate that. Now I'm going to ask you a really tough question because it'll probably be tough to answer because I know, again, you live a principle-based life, which I really have always admired about you. Is there one principle that stands out above all the rest that you just love, or that this is the one that gets me out of bed in the morning? I mean, I know that's a loaded question because I know there's a bunch. I don't know. That's a tough question, but is there even if there's a few of them that you just really hold on to? Yeah.
One that's always been important to me is this pursuit of excellence.
Okay.
Not perfection.
Right.
Very big distinction
there.
But the pursuit of excellence, because I think one of the things, I actually think one of the biggest challenges we have in society today is mediocrity. Mm. And I think it's one of the challenges that we face internally, because if you're not really doing your best, if you're not living your best life, you're going to experience what I call divine discontent. Mm. You're not going to be happy.
Right.
And so to me, it's always about this pursuit of excellence. That, again, from a society standpoint, here in America, we're trying to be one of the first societies ever to outlive their own success. It's really never been done.
Right.
You go back through history and you look at the Egyptians, you look at the Mayan Empire, you look at the British Empire, Roman Empire. They all achieved some extraordinary things for their time.
Right.
And then what happened? They got comfortable.
Yeah.
They rested on their laurels. They started to do the checklist, minimum standard, just enough to get by.
Yeah.
And when they did that, they got wiped out by someone who was hungry and someone who was, pursuing that excellence in a big way. And so societally, I think it's a big issue in terms of if we accept mediocrity, if we celebrate mediocrity as a society, even as a community, that's the beginning of the end. I'd always tell companies, most dangerous day in the life of a company is the day you're successful. Because it's so easy to get into that comfort zone mentality and that mediocrity. And so that's the challenge there. But then from an individual standpoint, you will never feel more alive. You will never be more energized than when you are pursuing excellence.
Dang.
It just is.
And
you will never be more miserable than when you are accepting mediocrity in your life.
Dang.
Now that doesn't mean we're stressing, pressing, anxiety filled. It's not that at all. It's actually a very relaxed space to get into.
Yeah.
Because when you're doing your best, not anybody else's best. And so it's why one of the things, and I know you do this with your clients all the time, is let's stop and take time to identify the essence of me.
Yeah.
What is it that matters? Because that's where the excellence lies. When you know the essence of who you are and what you're about, you get really focused. Focus precedes success in everything we do.
Right.
Focus always comes first. But often we don't get focused because we got so many different things going on.
Yeah.
We're worried, we're chasing, we're racing about. And so I think probably those two principles, the principle of excellence, pursuing excellence, but getting to the essence of who you are. What are your principles? What are your values?
Yeah.
What are those things that you're going to stand up for regardless? What are you willing to sacrifice for?
Yeah.
Those are big questions, and there's never been a better time to take time to think about those questions than right now.
Wow, man, that's amazing. So well said. I mean, I almost feel like, well, that's a mic drop. Where do we need to go? But I got some more questions for you. That was beautifully said. Thanks, Boyd. with your own family, and you mentioned something you're doing with your son, you're doing this little master class with him, and that doesn't surprise me that you're doing that. What are you guys doing as a family? What are you doing, maybe specifically that you could share with us that's kind of helping you guys? Obviously, you're doing these things, but maybe kind of share with us what's really going on behind your doors.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is being very intentional, in terms of what you do.
Okay.
And we're not perfect.
Right.
We've
It
had
might look like it.
We've had a few nights where we've binge watched 7 episodes of West Wing or the
Right.
British Baking Show.
Right.
We've had those moments,
Right.
and guess what? Those are okay too.
Yeah.
The important thing is that you do those by choice, not by default. And so this is something that we've talked about in our home, is that, okay, things are a little different. So we don't have to be tightly strung all the time.
Right.
But do it by choice. So
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are working from home and finding being your boss. We always complain about the boss.
Right.
But some of us are not very good bosses of ourselves. We're like,
Right.
oh, this is hard. This is
Yeah.
really difficult.
Yeah.
And so, again, if someone's working from home, again, we've been dealing with this. If you're going to take 20 minutes and watch a show or go on social media, great. But
Yeah.
just do that and
Right.
be present. But too often what happens is this, I need to get this done. I need to get this done. And then, I need to do this. And so then maybe we decide, well, okay, I'm just going to watch this show. So we watch the show, but while we're watching the show, we're stressing about something else.
Right.
So if you're going to watch the show, watch the show.
Yeah.
If you're going to take time and just chill with your family or make a call, just do that. Don't do 2 things at once. Don't stress about what you could be doing or should be doing or maybe could be doing.
Yeah.
Just do what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And so it's one of the things that we've tried to do a little more intentionally is say, okay. We're gonna watch TV for an hour tonight.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna do that, or we're gonna play a game, or
Yeah.
we're gonna go support our local economy, and we're gonna go get ice cream.
Right.
Drive through.
Right.
Just do that.
Right.
And I think it's one of the hardest parts about working from home. Again, isolation is hard, but the other thing is, if you aren't focused and intentional in your choices, you will be exhausted.
Oh, wow.
Because, and tell me if, this is just confessional time. So you're sitting there, you know you should be working on project A, but you sit there and you kind of go, well, should I work on project A or should I work on project B, or I could make that phone call, or I could send that email, and you hesitate, you vacillate, you go back and forth, and then you go get something to eat out of the fridge. Right?
Right.
So the more hesitation, the less inspiration.
Wow.
The less inspiration, the less likely we are to act appropriately or effectively. And so do things by choice. And it's a hard thing. We struggle with it at my house, and some days we're really good and some days we're really bad. One of the things that I've been really trying to be good at during this period is exercising every day. And that's always a struggle for me because we start way early,
Right.
and far too often I allow the work to bleed over into the evening.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that gets challenging. But and again, with a lot of help from my wife, we've carved it out. So no matter what time I get back home, I'm immediately, before I start thinking about I'm so tired, or I really don't want to do this, or before I really have to hesitate and go back and forth about whether or not I will exercise, Debbie will say, we're going to eat in an hour.
Right.
You have time to work out and shower, and we'll be ready.
We'll be ready to go.
And so it's something that Debbie's done for me intentionally,
Right.
to create that space where I don't have to hesitate and vacillate. She knows it's important to me, and and my health is important to her.
Right.
And so she's like, I'll take care of this part. You go do this. And it's been a great blessing for me and a great sacrifice for Debbie. And it's just part of the way that we're trying to team up and say, okay, if we all come out of this 20 pounds heavier, if the Corona-19 is the number of pounds we've gained,
right, exactly,
that's a real problem.
That is a real problem.
So, and that's just one thing that we've done at our house that, again, Debbie's been especially helpful to get me going.
No, that's awesome. I think, like you said, if we're trying to do two things at once, like you said, it's exhausting, but I would also add that's a form of suffering.
Yeah.
We suffer when we do that. But like you're saying, if we're going to watch a movie, be there and be one with the movie.
Yeah.
Therefore, you're not suffering. You're present.
That's right.
I love that. That was so well said. I know that you've shared a ton of advice for us today. You've shared some really powerful principles. Maybe with some closing thoughts on, if you could share, someone who's hearing this right now who maybe just, they're kind of in that hunkered down mode. They're feeling lost. They're feeling scared. They're feeling inactive, so to speak, not knowing what to do.
Yeah.
Maybe with some closing thoughts, what could you tell them?
So I think one of the things that we all have to recognize in this is we're not alone. There are people around us. There are things around us. To me, it's one of those moments where if you really stop, you can go from feeling very isolated to extraordinarily connected in an instant.
Yeah.
We did something in our home from a faith tradition, and we didn't really think about it at first, but because we were feeling kind of isolated. It's like, well, we can't go to our regular church meetings and do our traditional faith exercise on a Sunday, but we decided we would do that at home, and it was really interesting as we kind of put that all together. We ended up using a wooden table that my father made in 7th grade shop class.
Wow.
and then we used a tray for part of the ceremony that was my grandmother's. And then we had, glasses that were from Debbie's mom. And, anyway, and by the time we were done, it was like, holy cow, we are so incredibly connected.
Yeah.
And so even in isolation, we suddenly felt very connected.
Yeah, I love that.
And so if you're feeling alone today or uncertain, you're not alone. If you're listening to this podcast, you're not alone.
Right.
You got Todd Sylvester and Boyd Matheson, and we got your back.
We got your back, absolutely.
And people should reach out, and whether they do that to you or to me through the internet or Twitter or whatever, we're here. And so you're not alone. So don't think for a second that you're alone in this thing. Because, again, isolation is the enemy.
Yeah.
Because it undermines our confidence, especially our confidence in ourselves.
Right.
We're really good at mental gymnastics. I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough. I don't know why I even try.
Yeah.
And we give up on that commitment.
Yeah.
We lose that resolve. And so avoid the mental gymnastics. Reach out. However, whenever, wherever. Don't try to do this alone.
Yeah.
Because you're not.
Right.
It's the old story of the woman who scrimped and saved so she could get passage from Liverpool over to the United States.
Right. Yeah.
And she finally was able to get a steerage class ticket on a ship, and so she's down there underneath. And when all the rest of the passengers went up to have their meals, she stayed behind, and she had these little crackers and things, and she just kind of got by because she didn't have much money. And, she got to the last day of the voyage and she knew she'd need some more strength. And so she took out a couple of coins and thought, well, I'm going to eat, today.
Right.
And she went up to the captain and said, I'd like to buy, a meal today so I can eat. And the captain just looked at her and just stunned and said, well, your meals were paid for in the price of your ticket. And so here she had suffered unnecessarily because she didn't ask and she didn't reach out. And so we have things all around us that we can reach out to, and we need to make sure that we're doing this.
Yeah, that's
and then I think if people can just recognize, one, they're not alone, and two, just do something today. You don't have to do everything today. This is not about a guilt-inducing, got to be perfect by Friday mentality.
Right.
It's just this is the new now.
Yep.
That's all I got to deal with is right now.
Yeah.
And so mentally, that's what I'm going to do. Physically, that's what I'm going to do. Emotionally, that's what I'm going to do. And take those actions. And then kind of look at it as an opportunity to send a message to the people you care about and to the universe that you're in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
I loved that during the Civil War, talk about a time of uncertainty.
Yes, yes.
The country is in crisis, deeply divided. War is going on. The nation's capital is incredibly vulnerable. It was a bad position, kind of in between the North and the South. And many of the people of the world, and many people even here in the United States, were really questioning, hey, is this the beginning of the end of the American democracy?
Right.
And there in Washington, D.C., the United States Capitol, and in particular the Capitol Dome, was only partially finished. Mm-hmm. And it was sort of this visual of, wonder if this is going to work out. Yeah. It's kind of teetering here. Maybe this is the beginning of the end.
Right.
But Lincoln understood that. And so even though resources were scarce and, all the challenges of fighting a war and trying to save freedom, he wanted to send the message that, hey, we're here for the long haul. And so he made sure that every day there was work, visible work going on the Capitol Dome, because freedom was going to stand for generations to come.
Right.
And so that was his visual punctuation of, this is not the beginning of the end. It's just the end of the beginning of the March of Freedom. And so one of the challenges I've been giving people is, what's your Capitol Dome? What is it? Yeah. What is it that you can signal to the world that, hey, I'm in this for the long haul. I'm going to keep so not just what's a goal, for the next little bit, but what's the unfinished business that I have out there?
Right.
Declare that. Show that.
Wow.
That, hey, I'm here, and a year from now I'm going to be doing X, or 6 months from now I'm going to have achieved Y. And having that kind of visual symbol. We watched over the weekend, interesting how different communities are interacting with this. One that's been fascinating has been the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Right.
And again, there's kind of is this the beginning of the end?
Right.
What is this? And Russell M. Nelson, the president of the church, has taken all of the precautions to be part of the solution as it relates to the pandemic. He's, brought 30,000 missionaries home, which again, talk about it's like, we're gonna share this message with the world, and I'm gonna bring 30,000 missionaries home. Probably the most extensive evacuation in a generation
ever. Yeah.
He talks about the importance of being together and gathering, and yet rather than speaking to 21,000 people in the conference center, he spoke to an empty auditorium. He's closed all the chapels and churches. Yeah. He's closed all of the church's temples around the world. So it's this and. It's not an either or. It's we're going to do this and. And so on Sunday he talks about, we've, for the time being, all of the temples are closed. And in a great signal of our unfinished dome, I'm going to announce 8 new temples around the world today. And to me, it was just this instant moment. It was very Lincoln-esque.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, we're not done.
We're not done.
Everything's closed, and we're going to build 8 new ones because you know what? The new now will continue to move.
Yes.
And there will be a new now in coming days when schools are open and kids are back in school. There's going to be a new now when it's business as usual and we can come and go as we please. There's going to be a new now, when the economy is vibrant and thriving. There's going to be a new now when we can gather together for weddings and family gatherings. And I can't wait until we can have another March Madness.
I know.
But that new now is coming.
It's coming.
It's all coming. And so the question for everybody is, what's your Capitol Dome? What is it that you're going to signal to the world that, hey, I'm not just going to hunker down and white knuckle my way through this thing and start to question whether I'm going to keep my commitments, whether it's in my recovery or whether it's in my relationships.
Man.
But my new now, this is where I'm going for the long haul. Send that signal. I guarantee you'll have an awesome now. You'll have an awesome day today.
Dang. Woo. Woo, man. Folks, that's why I had Boyd on today. For this passion and this power, and thank you for sharing that message. That's very, very touching to me. So for those who want to maybe reach out to you, what would be the best way for them to do that? And then how would they find your podcast and your news, your radio show?
Yeah, so podcasts, you can anywhere you get your podcast. It's called Therefore What. Really easy to find on there. Radio's on KSL News Radio. The show is called Inside Sources. It's 11 to noon Mountain Time.
Yeah.
You can also pick up the podcast there as well.
Okay, great.
My columns are in Deseret News, Deseret.com. You can always find me hanging out there. And my email address is on there. And seriously, anyone who's listening, reach out.
Reach out,
and we will connect.
There you go, man. Thank you so much, Boyd, for being on. Truly an honor for me and a blessing to sit here in person and witness this. So thank you. We have a good
social distance. We
social
did the measuring
distance.
tape.
We got the tape out. We're good. But I want to thank you. It's bright and early, but I know you've been up for several hours. But
it's just what we do.
Just what we do. But thank you so much. And I know that this message that you shared today and the principles and stuff you shared are going to really make a difference to a lot of people. So I want to thank you for that. And hopefully they'll reach out to you and thank you in person. Please reach out to Boyd. Check out his podcast and his radio show. It's awesome. He has great guests on. I've had the opportunity to be on, which was really cool, and I really appreciate that as well. So there you go, listeners. Another amazing episode with an amazing person, Boyd Matheson. Thank you again for believing in me. I want you to know I love you. I want you to know this too for me. We can do hard things. We can do it. We were built for it. And the proof is, you look at a baby learning to walk. When a baby falls down, what do? They get back up. They fall down, they get back up. We were born with the will to never give up. It's in our DNA. Don't you ever forget that. Until next time, thank you.